You know that sound, right? That satisfying little chirp of tires hitting smooth pavement? It's great. But what happens when the pavement just isn't there? Landing on grass or dirt or gravel? Well, that's a completely different ballgame. So today, we're going to break down exactly how to master the art of the soft field landing, turning what could be a bumpy ride into something graceful and totally controlled. Yeah, paved runways are predictable. They're firm, they're reliable, but soft fields? They are just full of surprises. You've got rough patches, maybe some hidden bumps, sometimes even mud. This isn't just a regular landing with a prettier view. It's a very specific skill, and it's all designed to protect your airplane. So how in the world do you handle all that unpredictability? First things first, let's be super clear on what we're talking about. A soft field is basically any landing surface that isn't hard pavement. Think of a beautiful grass strip out in the country or maybe a remote dirt clearing. The key thing to remember is that these surfaces, they just can't take the same kind of punishment as asphalt, and frankly, neither can your landing gear. Okay, before we dive into the step-by-step, you have to get this one core idea in your head. The entire maneuver, everything we're about to talk about, is built around this single principle. You are not just landing the plane. You are delicately, carefully transferring its weight from the wings, which have been holding it up this whole flight, onto the wheels with absolute finesse. It's a smooth transition, not a sudden arrival. A perfect landing always starts with a perfect approach, and this is definitely no exception. Seriously, what you do in these final moments before touchdown sets the stage for everything that comes after. All right, so the first couple of steps here are pretty much business as usual. You're going to fly a nice, stabilized approach, get configured with full flaps, and nail your target airspeed, usually about 1.3 times your stalling speed. But step 3, this is where the magic really starts. After you cross the threshold, you're going to intentionally level off just a foot or two above the ground. You're literally using that cushion of air we call ground effect to bleed off energy and get the plane as slow as possible before the wheels even think about touching. So why do we do this? Why all the extra effort? It's simple physics, really. By touching down at the absolute minimum possible airspeed, you dramatically reduce the stress on your landing gear. See, a soft surface can literally grab your tires, and that creates this dangerous forward pitching motion. The slower you're going, the less force there is, which means you drastically lower the risk of digging in that nose wheel, or even worse, nosing over completely. This quote right here perfectly captures the mindset you need. This is the golden rule. You are not just landing the plane in the traditional sense, you are flying it until it simply cannot fly anymore. You want to keep those wings generating lift for as long as you possibly can, letting them gently lower the aircraft onto the surface. All right, so you've flown a perfect approach, you're hovering there in ground effect. Now it's time for the main event. This is where your precision and your timing are absolutely everything. So as the plane settles, you might find you need just a tiny touch of power to kind of extend that ground effect phase and get the absolute slowest touchdown possible. Then the moment, and I mean the moment, the main wheels kiss the ground, you smoothly bring that power to idle, and immediately, this is so critical, start pulling back on the yoke. Your new mission is to keep that nose wheel flying. The wheels are down. Awesome. But you are far from done. The rollout on a soft field is a very active, very dynamic phase. You're still flying the airplane, and you're doing it to protect it. So keep holding that back pressure. You want that nose wheel off the rough surface for as long as you aerodynamically can. And you can pretty much forget about the brakes for a bit. The soft ground itself is going to provide a lot of braking action. If you hit them hard, you're just going to force the nose down, and that's exactly what we're trying to avoid. Only when the plane has slowed down to almost a walking pace do you gently relax that back pressure and let the nose wheel settle. And even then, keep that yoke pulled all the way back to take as much weight off it as you can. I really want to hammer this point home. If you remember just one single thing from the rollout, please let it be this. Hold that yoke back. Hold it back through the touchdown, all the way through the rollout, and even while you taxi. It just needs to become pure muscle memory. So, why is this so important? Well, think about it this way. Your main landing gear, that's the heavy lifter. It's built to take a beating, it's robust. The nose gear, not so much. It's really designed for steering on smooth surfaces, not for plowing through a bumpy field at 40 knots. By holding that yoke back, you're using the elevator to create a downward force on the tail, which levers the nose up and protects that much more fragile gear. Knowing how to do it right is one thing, but knowing what can go wrong,
That's just as important. So let's take a look at the most common pitfalls pilots run into.
You'll notice these all pretty much trace back to the fundamentals. Coming in too steep or way too fast, well, you've just ruined your chance of a gentle touchdown. An unstabilized approach means you're fighting the airplane the whole way down. And, of course, letting that nose wheel touch down early puts incredible stress on the airframe. These are the things you've got to watch out for every single time.
Okay, let's put this all together. We've gone through the approach, the touchdown, the rollout, and what to avoid. Now let's just distill it down into a simple mental checklist you can take with you on your next flight.
This is it. This is the essence of the entire maneuver right here. Number 1, fly a stabilized approach. Number 2, hold it in ground effect for a super soft, super slow touchdown. And number 3, keep that nose wheel off the ground for as long as you possibly can. If you can nail these 3 things, you are well on your way to a perfect soft field landing.
Look, this is a technique that definitely requires a certain touch and finesse, but it isn't magic. It's a clear, repeatable process. By really understanding these principles and following the steps we laid out, you can turn just about any grassy field into a welcoming runway. The only question left is, are you ready to go out there and master it?